that bad at tap dancing that you need a chair.
No. I didn't say that.
What college you go to? What university?
Vanderbilt University.
Oh my God.
Down in
just
Nashville?
Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
just
no-
Vanderbilt. No biggie.
We normally don't have this high of intelligent person on our show. Not that the other guests were bad.
So raise your glass, even though he's not the best, but at least he made the top 5.
Welcome to another edition of Lanai Gossip. Welcome back, Mary Kay.
Hi, Scott.
And co-hosting today is Megan's younger sister, Katy.
Hi, Katy.
Thanks. We had a little mix-up with the volume. And
Oops.
we've suspended Megan. Now Katie's back in. We're going to talk about tap.
Yay.
Come down to the villages and you tap. And Katy, you tapped for a couple years, right?
Yes.
And we're talking about dancing, not tapping a beer keg.
Sure, yeah.
There we go.
Mary Kay teaches 2 classes.
I do.
Beginners and Beginners Plus tap dancing here in the villages.
Only because I was really talked into it.
Now, how many years did you tap dance? Tell us your background.
Probably for about 8 or 9 years. I didn't learn how to dance until I was in my mid-30s. My second child was 2.5 and said, "Mommy, I want to dance." And so we did mother-daughter dance at the YMCA.
Would you think you were advanced when you left?
Not at all.
No.
No,
Still a
I
beginner,
couldn't
huh?
touch what the kids were doing.
Okay.
The teenagers were amazing.
It's incredible.
They were absolutely amazing. But then when I first came back to the villages, there was a beginner tap class that I thought that might be fun. And I actually had to hold on to a chair because my balance was bad. So
Oh.
for the first couple of months I was tapping back again, I needed to hang on to a chair. Yeah. The feet knew what to do. I remembered.
Right,
It's just I was dizzy and it wasn't the beer.
So a good thing about this is I went to your class.
You did.
I did, and I
But you
videotaped
didn't,
it.
But you didn't dance.
No, but I have a question. Does the song beat have anything to do with your tap dancing routine?
Tap is all about rhythm, and your tap shoes are your musical instrument. You are beating time to the particular song that you're dancing to. So it doesn't matter what the song is. It can be rock and roll, it can be jazz, it can be almost anything. It can be a lullaby, but your feet are tapping in time to the rhythm of that song.
My husband would say I have no rhythm, so I must have been a good counter as a kid.
You must have been. Either that or a good mimic, because kids watch the instructor and mimic. As we get older, our brain has to learn it first before it can tell our feet what to do. That's why tap is so important for people who want to prevent dementia, stave off Alzheimer's. It works by exercising the brain and doing it to music with a physical component. The combination of the 3 is actually preventive for Alzheimer's. Another good reason to tap.
And Megan did say that an hour of tap dancing is 200 to 600 calories burnt.
I believe it.
When people leave my class, they're sweating.
They are
right?
sweating. Yes,
Right,
they
they're sweating.
complain you
I
work them too hard.
They don't complain to me.
They're scared. You're working hard.
I'm so mean.
But then I was jealous because I liked when my sister did the
Oh, yeah.
recitals.
And you were
I
sitting
got
in- yeah.
jealous. Yes.
You were
Yes.
sitting
So
in the
then I
stands.
think I wanted to go back to it. But I want to say, because I think my last year of dance, I only did hip hop.
Okay.
And so I think that was in 7th grade.
Is that typical that people have did this in their youth and then they
Yeah.
come back to you and
A lot
say,
of
hey,
kids start when they're 2, 3 years old, 3, 4 years old, and they tap until it's not popular. And right now, the music is not conducive to tap.
okay.
And so the younger kids today prefer hip hop. They prefer jazz. They prefer lyrical. I have a granddaughter who's 17. She hates tap.
Oh,
Hates it.
Well,
So-
and I think I liked tap. I think it got to the point where it got really difficult. You needed to be flexible,
Yes.
and I was not flexible.
And you need to be fast.
And I don't think I could keep up.
It's hard. It's a real brain drain. If you're doing a different step or movement with every beat of the song, that's a lot to remember.
Yeah, it is.
And it's not easy. It can be very, very difficult. And if you watch some of the really incredible performers like Xavier Glover or the Tap Dogs from Australia,
Oh, they're awesome.
they will knock your socks off. They're amazing. The purpose of the beginner class is to always be on the same level so that at any time someone can come into the class and start. We start with a slow, simple dance. The next one's a little more difficult. We add steps and on until we've done 9 or 10 dances. And by the 9th or 10th dance, we're dancing faster and with a number of combinations and steps that we learned previously. And the goal is to self-improve.
Okay.
So we can take someone who's 55 years old and dance when they were a kid, and they're having fun and it's pretty easy. And then we can have an 80-year-old come in who's had a stroke, who's on a walker, who can sit in a chair, and her feet can learn to do it. And she'll leave the class as happy as the 55-year-old because
Sure.
she has had a personal accomplishment.
And that's why you teach,
That's
isn't
my
it?
joy.
I can tell.
Yeah, that's
I can
my
tell.
joy.
How is tapping on joints and stuff?
Well, I wish we had a hung floor. I wish we had
Okay.
a floor that had some give. We are tapping at the recreation centers. It's free. And so we are tapping on either tile or laminate that's on concrete.
Right.
So it is hard on the joints, but this is the Villages. We don't jump.
That's
Right.
true.
When we, instead of jumping, we drop a heel. And I try to keep the steps low and smaller so that we're not Tiggers. If you're being a Tigger and jumping a lot, you can hurt yourself. So we try to avoid that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you did Joy to the World when I was there.
Uh-huh.
And it looked good.
Thank you.
Shuffle ball change.
Then I went to your Beginner Plus class.
Yes.
And I got some video of that, which I will show. But I did notice a difference. And a layman's guy, right? Now that I'm paying attention, I noticed there was a step up.
It was a step up. What happened was I had my beginner class, and the goal was for them to get to the point where they can recognize the names of steps and do them automatically. And they're getting a little bored. So then they jump into the intermediate class that Shirley Keith was teaching. And unfortunately, the intermediate class and a lot of the intermediate classes in the Villages started out beginner intermediate, but they've progressed with time. And the teachers have allowed that, and they haven't gone back to easy or beginner intermediate.
Okay.
So people from my class who are ready for the next step go to the intermediate class and they're just shell shocked. They can't do it. It's too hard. It's too fast. There are too many steps they don't know, they don't recognize. So for several months, I had people begging me, you have to teach another class. You have to do an in-between. Finally, I said, okay, we'll give it a shot. And that's what that class is. It's Beginner Plus. It is an in-between class that speeds things up, that teaches more steps, makes it more complicated, but helps them approach the ability of being able to go into the middle of an intermediate class rather than the beginning.
But I did do the Candy Girls.
We have former professionals.
Yeah.
They're retired, but they were professionals and or they own studios and taught themselves. They are phenomenal dancers. They're older. None of us are getting younger.
Sure.
But yeah, they have a depth of background that is amazing.
When people come to your class, do they tell you more like Katy's story that I did it years ago and like to get back into it?
We
Or
hear that a lot.
do you hear that a lot?
We
then?
hear that a lot. Yeah, I danced as a kid and I don't remember a thing.
Okay.
Or I think I remember, but I'm not sure. Or they'll tell me, well, I've never danced in my entire life and I always wanted to because I watched Shirley Temple. And I promised myself someday I would dance like Shirley.
We'll explain.
I
to
do
Katy
know
who
who Shirley Temple is.
I am
I watched. My grandma had
What
the videos. I watched it growing
And she
up.
could dance, couldn't she?
She could.
She could dance.
So if you want to go take a class, you live in the villages.
Yes.
You clearly don't have tap shoes sitting in your closet.
Wear your sneakers.
Okay.
Yeah, anyone who wants to try, I encourage you, don't spend money on shoes
Right.
unless you're sure you're going to keep doing it. And that's fine for the first couple of times. No problem. And
Okay, so we got you on Wednesdays at Burnside at 11 o'clock.
Yes.
And that's the beginner class.
beginner.
And then Captiva,
Yes.
noon for
Yes.
beginner plus
On Thursdays.
on Thursdays.
On Thursdays.
Yes.
Yeah. And anyone
Great
who's
staff
curious,
on Thursdays at Captiva.
best.
Oh, well, thanks for coming along and really helping Megan out because she felt terrible.
Well, tell
terrible.
Megan I was thinking about her, but thoroughly enjoyed beating Katy.
Well, you got the whole family now.
Got the whole
So
family.
maybe when they retire,
Yeah.
if
you
you're
can
still
come and teach with
teaching,
me.
yes.
I'll just
Because
come
I'll
and
be
take a
102.
I'll take a class
And then-
next time I'm down here.
Okay, well, thank you, Mary Kay and Katy, for helping me out with this segment. Very good.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks to him, we've got the best league to play in. It's not a boast, just a toast to number 5.